Welcome back to another episode of Warriors Mic'd Up. I'm Nathan Bernaldo.
And I'm Zach.
And today we're joined with John Carlos Mouw. But first, we're going to talk about the devotional. The grass withers and the flowers fade, but the word of our God stands forever. Isaiah 48. Zach, what does this verse mean?
So this verse means, basically, as we see in the verse, that it tells us that the things on this earth, they fade away, they're physical, and they'll die out, but they don't go to heaven. They don't have an everlasting life. The Lord's word tells us that, if we put our trust in him, then we will last forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good. And now to John Carlos Mouw. John Carlos, what's like your company? Because I see you're wearing the Apex Scholars shirt.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Gotta wear the merch.
Yeah.
Apex Scholars is an education company that focuses on K through 12 tutoring, so kindergarten to 12th grade, as well as SAT prep, ACT prep, as well as college admissions guidance if you want a little bit more of a hands-on approach.
Nice.
I started it back at the beginning of 2024, but before that I was tutoring since 2020.
Nice. Well,
That's awesome.
and how is Apex Scholars related with Westwood?
Yeah, so beginning of 2024, close to when I started the company, we actually formed a partnership with Westwood, where we hire Westwood alumni to provide the tutoring services back to the current students. So what this means is that it's students that have taken the same classes with the same teachers, same books a lot of the time, except the edition changes and they force you to buy a new one. But we have that in place. So that what you get is not just a tutor of the subject, not someone that just teaches you what's going on, but also someone that guides you through the classroom. They're a mentor for the classroom, as we like to say.
That's nice.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you're an alumni too, right?
Yeah, so I graduated class of 2020, so COVID year. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And you're a valedictorian, right?
Yes, valedictorian of the class. Yeah.
Impressive.
Brain right there.
And now for some senior questions. So one of the questions that we get a lot is, what should we be doing as seniors right now? It's September. It's the beginning of our senior year. What should we be doing? What should we what should we be doing? Pretty much, yeah.
No, 100%. It's a really good question to ask. So main thing that you want to do is make sure that you have your exam scores in place. So by now, hopefully you've chosen whether you're going to focus in on the ACT or focus in on the SAT. Mm-hmm. And now in September, you got a limited number of attempts left if you want for your scores to count for admissions. So if you're focused on the SAT, for example, you want to be looking at October test dates, November, December. Then there's a really big gap until you get to March. So you really want to make sure that you're taking it before then if you want to try and improve your score for admissions purposes. But that's not the only reason you want to take the SAT or the ACT. Mm-hmm. You may want to get it for Bright Futures purposes, and that you have all the way until August of the following year. Some people are even already in college during the summer, and they're still practicing for the SAT in order to get Bright Futures. So your main goal, just to summarize, should be focusing on those test scores, getting them as high as possible, and even if you can't use them when you submit your application, they're still good for Bright Futures afterwards.
Okay.
Identifying your schools is the second thing. Know where you're going to apply. Look at their deadlines. A lot of early action programs are due around November 1st to November 15th. So you want to get those in. And then if you don't get accepted with early action, you can always reapply under regular decision. But we'll get into that.
Interesting.
Nice, okay.
Yeah. And what's the difference between early action, early decision, and regular decision? Just walk me through what those mean.
Sure. So early action is the first deadline in the college admissions process. So this is where it's the first round of people. They have all their application materials ready. They've taken their exams. They've have a score that they're happy with, and they go ahead and apply. It's non-binding, which means that when you get accepted, you don't have to go to that school. It also is not the last time they'll consider your application. So for whatever reason you're rejected, you're deferred, you will get moved into regular decision, where they'll look at your application again and then go ahead and make their final decision. So that's the advantage of early action. It doesn't hurt to apply. You get your name in there, and then they reconsider you again for regular decision. Early decision is different. Sounds really similar, but very different in that if you get accepted, you have to accept the program. So if you get accepted with early decision, you're not allowed to. You have to accept that program. You really should only choose one early decision program. And the only reason you choose that is if you know 100% you're going to go to that school, no matter what your financial aid package is or whatever. There's certain loopholes to get out of it. Like if you can't afford the school, if they don't give you enough aid, there's a way to get out, but it's very complicated and it is binding. So you want to be really careful. And the regular decisions, the regular process, a lot of them are due December through February, depending on the school.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. How do students know which one to choose between those three?
So there's no harm in applying early action because you'll get a fresh review for regular decision at almost every school. So early action, I would say I always recommend. Early decision, I don't really recommend it for any case unless that is like your dream school and you want to go all in. That's the only time. But with early decision, if you apply that way, the school can look at it strategically and say, well, do I want to give this person as much financial aid or scholarship because I know they're already really committed to coming here. I don't have to convince them. So it kind of puts you at a disadvantage financial aid wise, but if you're all in, go for it. Regular decision, the only reason you would apply only regular decision is if you don't make it by the early action deadline. So basically what I'm saying is apply early action.
Interesting. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Zach, do you have any questions?
Yeah, now for the juniors. Now that was all the seniors. For any juniors or junior parents out there, this information would be good. Well, how do we know which one to choose? SAT, ACT, when do they come out? I mean, yeah, can you explain a little bit about that?
It's a really good question. Over time, the SAT and ACT I've seen has gotten a little bit more similar. The ACT used to have like the required science section, and now they're throwing that out. You can still take it. It helps with your score, but it's no longer required by most programs when they're analyzing your score. Kind of like the ACT writing section. It's like an add-on. And so they're becoming more and more similar over time. But really, the way I would decide is based on your PSAT, and then take a practice ACT, which they do offer online. You can find one for free, and see how you compare. Obviously the scores are going to be different. An ACT of 25, how are you going to compare that to a SAT of 1220? You know, that those are very different numbers.
Yeah.
But you look at what's called a percentile, which tells you in the whole population where are you at. So 95th percentile, for example, 95 means that you are scoring higher than 95% of people. So the way you compare them is by looking at percentile. When you do that, choose whichever one you get higher on. If they're about the same, it's a coin toss. But if there's one that's a lot higher than the other, practice that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you explain a little bit, like what is the PSAT or the PACT?
Yeah, so the PSAT, which is the one that I think everyone is more familiar with, in 11th grade you have to take the PSAT 11. So with that one, it is basically a way to look where you at before taking the SAT for the first time. What is your starting point? That's really the main thing. Now, I wouldn't treat it just as that. So if you're someone that you're really good at taking tests and you think you could do really well on this, take it seriously, because there's actually a scholarship where attached to the PSAT 11 that if you get above, I think you have to be in the top like 5% of test takers. But if you can beat 95% of people, you get a very large scholarship from one of College Board's partners. So it's worth being in. And even if you don't get the scholarship, there's a special award that you can put on your resume when you apply to college.
Okay.
Nice.
So-
Okay. And when do we start preparing for the SAT, ACT? When do we know we should start taking them?
So in 11th grade, I would start preparing immediately. I would even say it doesn't hurt to start preparing before you take the PSAT 11. What you want to do is by the time that you are finished with your 11th grade and you're in the summer, you've taken the SAT, let's say at least 3 times, you've gotten your highest score, or the ACT for that matter, but you've taken it so that when you get into your senior year, you're done worrying about the exam. You can move past that stage, which is the most stressful, and you can focus on your applications, writing your essays, making them strong, choosing the schools that you want to go to, touring them. Like that's part of the fun of applications, and you miss out on that when you wait until the last minute.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And I mean, all this information was great, learning all these new things, but how do we get in contact with you?
Yeah, so the best way to reach to me is actually my phone number. So it's 305-798-4554. You can also email us at info, so info, at apexscholars.org.
Awesome.
Nice, awesome.
Well, I'm
thank you
pretty
for-
sure that's it for this episode.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, John Carlos.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
See you next time on Warriors Mic'd Up.